Part 1. Long ago, by the shores of the Red Sea in the land of Eritrea, there lived a simple farmer who owned a small but cherished herd of cattle. He was an honest man, but he often struggled to make ends meet. Across the way lived a merchant, rich and proud, who saw the farmer's herd and desired it. One evening, as the two men were arguing over the price of some grain, the merchant proposed a malicious wager. "I will bet you my entire herd of 50 prime cattle," the merchant said, his eyes glittering, "against your small herd that you cannot spend one entire night submerged in the sea." The farmer gasped. The coastal nights were bitterly cold and the sea was unforgiving. Yet the thought of winning 50 cattle was too tempting to resist. "I accept," the farmer replied, trembling. "But I must have nothing but my wits to sustain me." That night, the farmer stripped down to his linen clothes and waded into the dark, freezing waters. The cold was shocking, piercing his bones instantly. He shivered violently and believed he would surely die. He prayed for the sunrise. As hours passed, the farmer noticed a tiny orange speck in the distance, high up on the mountain. It was a cooking fire from a remote house, no larger than a star. He fixed his gaze upon it, imagining the warmth radiating from the distant flame. Focusing on that distant light gave him something to cling to, a goal to keep his mind from the crushing cold. He watched that tiny speck of fire until the first rays of the sun warmed the sea. Exhausted but alive, the farmer waded ashore, his teeth chattering in triumph. He had survived. He went straight to the merchant and demanded his prize. But the merchant, seeing the farmer still standing, frowned. "Wait," he declared. "Did you not look at anything all night long?" "I saw nothing but a distant cooking fire, like a tiny star high on the mountain," the farmer confessed. "Aha!" the merchant roared, pointing an accusing finger. "You are disqualified. You looked at the fire. The warmth from that fire reached you and saved your life. You did not endure the cold alone, so the bet is void. You owe me your cattle." The farmer protested, arguing that the fire was too far away to give warmth, but the merchant dragged him before the village elders. The elders, influenced by the merchant's wealth and loud voice, agreed with the cruel logic. How could he have survived without the help of the fire's warmth? They reasoned. The farmer was heartbroken and faced losing his only possessions. In desperation, the farmer sought out the wise and eccentric man known throughout the region, Abu Nawas. Abu Nawas listened patiently to the farmer's tearful story. He stroked his beard and smiled. "Go home, my friend," Abu Nawas said. "I will handle this." Part 2. Abu Nawas then sent invitations to the merchant and all the elders, inviting them to a grand feast to celebrate the upcoming harvest. On the day of the feast, the merchant and elders arrived, anticipating a magnificent meal. Abu Nawas had indeed prepared a stunning spread: roasted goat, seasoned vegetables, fragrant rice and fresh bread. The aroma filled the large hall and made everyone's mouths water. However, when the guests entered, they saw that Abu Nawas had hung all the cooked food from the rafters, high above their heads, far out of reach. The guests were confused, then irritated. They sat down and waited. Hours passed. The sun set, and still the delicious food hung untouchable above them. The merchant, finally losing patience, stood up. "Abu Nawas," he complained, "what is the meaning of this? You have invited us to a feast, yet we are starving. The food is right here, but we cannot eat it." Abu Nawas slowly rose and smiled at the merchant and the elders. "Is that so?" he asked. "You have been looking at the feast all day, have you not? If merely looking at a tiny, distant fire on a mountain can warm a man in the freezing sea," Abu Nawas said, his voice ringing with conviction, Surely looking at this grand feast should have satisfied your hunger." A silence fell over the hall. The elders and the merchants stared first at the high-hanging food, then at each other. They immediately understood the brilliant logic. Just as the sight of the food could not feed them, the sight of the distant fire could not possibly have warmed the farmer. Shamed and corrected by Abu Nawas's irrefutable demonstration, the merchant confessed his trickery. The elders immediately reversed their decision, condemning the merchant's greed. The farmer was awarded the 50 prime cattle, and he went home richer and happier than he had ever dreamed, forever grateful for the clever justice of Abu Nawas.